Larry, you mentioned decentralization in the past. We spent the last 4 years pretty deep into the blockchain community. We've invested about $25 million into various startups. I've had the big players on like Michael Saylor and the rest. And of course, blockchain talks about how decentralization is the future. And again, they've even tried to start social media platforms, recognizing the problems that we face with what they call these Web 2 institutions like YouTube. And censorship is one of the perfect examples. Of course, blockchain has struggled to gain as much momentum as we had wanted. And sometimes the decentralization without a clear leader stops progress, if I'm honest. And this concept of a DAO or a decentralized autonomous organization, again, a bit like socialism, in theory sounds good, but sometimes you need a Steve Jobs at the front cracking the whip to get things done. And I'm just curious if when you think about decentralization, have you looked to some of the things happening in blockchain and what might you have in mind?
I actually worked for Everpedia back when it was called Everpedia for a couple of years and helped them get an encyclopedia. Well, it was actually after it was started, but to work on some of the policy and to promote it. The idea of a blockchain encyclopedia is interesting. But there are issues with it. We don't need to go into the details there. I do have something that I think is quite relevant here. The idea of decentralization is great because it implies freedom. If the decision-making authority to set policy and decide which content is going to be published is spread out, then everyone has a role to play, and that is empowering to people. That's how it's supposed to work. But most blockchain companies are in fact not decentralized in any meaningful way. As a matter of fact, they like to talk about having a decentralized network, but most of the actual activity is going on their servers, and nobody else has made a copy, or very few others have made a copy of their data or anything like that, and they ultimately have control. We were talking about decentralization long before crypto was a thing at all, and crypto simply co-opted that. In fact, Wikipedia itself, I remember I used the word decentralized, applied it to Wikipedia itself, on the theory that it really mattered that people could work on Wikipedia as and when they wanted to without taking orders from any one entity, right? So it's decentralized in that sense. I actually think that true decentralization really is empowering. It's just that there's not a lot of money in it, right? If you want to make a lot of money, generally speaking, it's hard to know how to do it short of Bitcoin, and something that has an objective, or provably objective value.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside, I view, is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.
you know, that really it never was the point of decentralization. You know, back in the 1980s and 90s, in the original web, the internet itself is decentralized, and that was
Yeah.
the reason why internet libertarianism was so big, especially in the 1990s, was that the internet was radically decentralized. Anybody could register a domain name, and you couldn't tell people what they were going to put up there if it was, unless it was illegal, and then maybe they would be investigated by the FBI or whatever. But yeah, so what I think needs to exist as far as a free, decentralized encyclopedia is a network of all of the encyclopedias. And I actually have started such a thing. I call it the encyclosphere, takeoff of the blogosphere, right? And the idea is we make copies of all the free encyclopedias. There are more than just Wikipedia, and we put them in the ZWI file format. ZWI means zipped wiki. It's like a zip file, but it's for wiki content. Collect it all in one place, but then allow anyone to make a copy of that. And we've actually proven that you can have ZWI files shared with each other, and different selections of encyclopedias held by different servers. So about a half a dozen people have done that. That would be a truly decentralized encyclopedia network. And again, people aren't going to get rich from that, probably. Maybe somebody will find a way, but it's the public commons. See, that's the thing. What we have forgotten, I think, is that a true decentralization is simply the public commons. That's what it is. And well, if you think to your basic economics, the commons is not a thing that people ought to be able to especially profit from, right? If you are, then you're ruining it. That's the tragedy of the commons.
I think that we're very early still in blockchain, and I know some of the players that are out there building education, and the one thing about the blockchain that's beautiful is its immutability. And, for example, Satoshi Nakamoto inscribed, on some of those first blocks back then. I think it was the front page of the FT when there was the financial crisis. And, that can never be taken away. If someone in North Korea can actually validate a block on Bitcoin, they can actually inscribe something in there that can never be taken away. We know the Wayback Machine on the internet can be tampered with. At least that's the rumor. So, that in itself, in addition to what you're talking about with the decentralization, could prove extremely valuable in the future when it's in certain powerful interests to literally erase history. And look, I know a lot of the players, and there's been ups and downs, and it's a very volatile industry by nature of it and the price. But I would see something 10, 20, 30 years from now definitely being decentralized with a blockchain component that would be information based. I'm sure it will happen.
I'm not ruling it out. I've never said that it's impossible. It's just that I think what the whole blockchain community is fighting now is the bad reputation of all the shit coins, right? So
Yeah,
and that's really hard to. It's hard to persuade responsible investors to part with their money after so many people being burned. So
it's interesting. I'm reading a book right now called 1929 that's unfortunately written by the very leftist Andrew Sorkin, but it's an interesting tale of what happened 100 years ago. And it's fascinating to hear about all these bank failures that happened and all these local banks that weren't very well capitalized, and people lost all their money, and things we would never conceive of, Larry, where in the beginning of the banking world, that was something that was much more common. And so, yeah, look, it's been an ugly few years in blockchain, and it's a shame because it's such a beautiful empowering technology, but it's had its ugly years, like I think a lot of things do in the early days. So yeah.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.
Hi, it's Brian Rose from London Real. You probably know that we've just recently been re-platformed on YouTube after 25 months completely in the dark. The truth is, I really need your help. What I really need you to do is click on that subscribe button right now, like this video, and maybe even leave a comment or share the link with friends. We're really fighting against an algorithm that's tried to keep us quiet for so long. And the more subscribers we have, the more people watch our content, the better guests we can bring you, the better content, and we can continue transforming lives. We've been doing this for 14 years now. I want to do this for another 14 years, but I really need your help. So click on that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, share this, and we're going to continue to bring you more and more great content. Thank you.